Hello, and welcome back to Serenity Speaks Conversations on Wellness. I'm your host, Cleo, and today I wanted to talk about a topic that I'm sure many of you can relate to or know somebody who can relate to it. And it's not being able to get enough sleep, bad sleep, insomnia. I've noticed over the last couple of years the increase of people talking about their lack of sleep or not being able to sleep throughout the night, just not getting enough sleep, waking up at 3 in the morning and not being able to fall back asleep. And people seem to be accepting that as, that's a normal part of life. And obviously those issues, those sleeping issues, are having a knock-on effect, a huge knock-on effect on their lives. Being stressed, worn out, tired all the time, anxious, depressed. I was always one of those people who's, when my head hit the pillow, I was out for the count and I could literally sleep anywhere. I really didn't understand sleep issues until, of course, I experienced it for myself. And my personal experiences came about through grief and mourning. So, for the first time in my life, I found myself tossing and turning, becoming increasingly frustrated and angry that I couldn't simply drift off anymore. I couldn't understand it, and I found I was becoming more irritated and moody in the daytime, unable to focus, and generally unhappy in my day-to-day life. I could see that the lack of sleep was taking its toll on me, and so I turned inwards, remembering and focusing on my teachings or my learning through yoga. And I focus more on gentle yoga practices before bed and longer meditations, more regular and consistent meditations and pranayama, the breathing exercises. And for me, yoga really got me back on track. So if you're one of these people who struggles with falling asleep or staying asleep or battling insomnia, this episode is really for you. And obviously, if you know anybody who suffers, make sure you pass this episode on to them. It's worth a listen. We're going to explore why sleep is so important, common causes of sleep issues, and most importantly, practical tips to help you improve your sleep quality. So get comfortable and prepare yourself to understand more about your sleep issues and find some real solutions. So, as we all know, sleep is so crucial for our well-being. It isn't just a time when our bodies rest, it's a period when our bodies and minds undergo essential processes. And these are critical for our health and day-to-day functioning. So sleep helps to restore our energy levels and prepares us for the next day. It's almost like recharging your internal batteries. And during sleep, our brain processes information, consolidates memories, and clears out toxins. This is so vital for cognitive functions like learning, problem solving, and emotional regulation. Sleep plays a significant role in healing and repairing our hearts and blood vessels, maintaining a healthy immune system, and regulating hormones. So, if you're somebody who's suffering with menopause and one of the big symptoms is a lack of sleep or not being able to sleep or hot sweats at night, so you're waking up with those, being able to regulate your hormones can also help, obviously, with the menopause. But yeah, getting you back on track for a sound night's sleep. A lack of sleep can lead to irritability, stress, anxiety, and long term sleep deprivation is linked to various mental health issues, which, makes a lot of sense. So that includes depression and anxiety. It's estimated that 30% of adults experience short term insomnia. So, things like, I suppose, grief or stress at work, if that's for a short period of time. And then 10% struggle with chronic insomnia. And that's just consistently, as a way of life, not being able to sleep or surviving on 2 to 3 hours of sleep per night. You may feel like you're alone with your sleep issues, but they are much more common than you might realise. And they can significantly impact your daily lives. So understanding the causes of sleep issues is basically the first step towards addressing them. So some of the most common reasons why people struggle with sleep, as mentioned, is stress and anxiety. They are the leading causes of sleep problems. That's when our minds are racing with worries and concerns of what's happened or what's about to happen. It can be so challenging to relax enough to fall asleep when your mind is in overdrive. Irregular sleep schedules and excessive use of electronic devices before bed and consuming caffeine or alcohol in the evening can disrupt your sleep patterns. But you can find that those are temporary if those are temporary things that you're doing rather than poor sleep habits. Certain medical conditions such as chronic pain, sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome can all interfere with sleep. And if you suspect a medical issue is affecting your sleep and you've tried everything in this episode today, it's really important to consult a healthcare professional. Just to make sure, really, that there's no underlying issues that could be creating the sleep problems. So noise, light, and uncomfortable sleeping environments can all contribute to sleep difficulties. Ensuring that your sleep environment is quiet, dark, and comfortable does in fact make a significant difference. So really just take time out to think about these issues, whether you can relate to them. And I'm now going to go through some practical tips that you can start implementing right now, today, for your night's sleep. So if you can establish a regular sleep schedule. Now this sounds really, straightforward. In fact, all of the tips are going to sound really basic and straightforward, but if you're not doing them, you won't know how well they can work. You have to try it to know whether that is the problem or not. It's really hard to change a habit such as checking your emails before bed or, thinking that playing, I don't know, Candy Crush is going to help you relax and get to sleep. But this regular sleep schedule is very basic, but you'd be surprised the amount of times we just don't do that. We're going to bed at all different times, which of course can make it really difficult to get yourself and your body into a routine. So try to go to bed and wake up at the same time every single day, even at weekends. So, forget about the lie-ins. Make sure that you're getting up and going to bed at a regular time. I suppose you could, say if it was 10 o'clock, give or take 15 minutes, but in and around that time every night. 10 o'clock at night, and whether that's like 7 in the morning to get up. But this will really help to regulate your body's internal clock, and it can really improve the quality of your sleep over time. The next one is it's kind of like a pampering of yourself, and a lot of people say that, I haven't got time to pamper myself or look after myself, and that's always, when I hear things like, I feel that's such a shame, because a lot of us will spend so much time looking after everybody else, whether that's your children, your partners, your parents, doing everything for everybody else, but not giving yourself that time. And the hours before bed should be your time, so you can focus on yourself. So creating a relaxing bedtime routine is key. And this could be anything from, reading your book or a book, or listening to an audio story. I like listening to audio stories before bed. Taking a warm bath. Some people say a cool shower, especially if you're going through menopause. Practicing relaxation exercise. So again, your meditations, and they don't have to be long, drawn out processes. 10 minutes of meditation or a breathing exercise is actually enough. It can help to relax you and gets you ready for bed. So avoiding stimulating activities such as watching TV or using electronic devices at least an hour before bedtime. Be nice if it was 2 or 3, but at least 1 hour before bed. Make sure your bedroom is conducive to sleep. So this means keeping it cool, quiet and dark. Consider things like blackout curtains and earplugs, or an app. There's so many apps out there that can help with this. So, it's like white noise, whether that's the sound of water fountains or lakes, the rain, the sounds of the forest. And it might sound like, oh, that's really not going to work, but you only know whether something's going to work once you've tried it. You might surprise yourself. The next one's, I would say a lot of people find this very difficult, to limit alcohol before bed, because there is this belief, and obviously that can work for the short term, to have an alcoholic beverage before sleep will get you to sleep, but over time you will start to notice that you will be waking up at random periods through the night. So basically, disturb sleep. For many years, or for a long, long time before I experienced sleeping difficulties, I was somebody, caffeine doesn't really have an effect on me, so caffeine doesn't help to keep me awake. It never has done. So I could drink a mug of coffee right before bed and still fall asleep like a baby. But then when I started experiencing the sleep disturbances, I overhauled my entire routine. And to this day, I only have 1 coffee in the morning. Might push that to 2. But yeah, coffee is for mornings for me. Even though I didn't feel like coffee was the issue, I changed everything because I wanted to make sure I would be able to have, a really good night's rest. So avoid consuming caffeine and alcohol in the evening or before bed, because they definitely interfere with your ability to fall asleep and stay asleep. You can try things like herbal teas, and I know a lot of people are gagging at the idea of a herbal tea, but again, you don't know till you try one. You could also try hot chocolate. That's always something that's quite relaxing before bed. And if you truly want to resolve your sleep issues, trying these different tips is the way forward. Absolutely. Because you'll only get change if you try, if you change something. Similarly, try to avoid large meals and snacks before bedtime because they can really cause discomfort and indigestion, and that can make it really hard to fall asleep. So instead, aim to have your last meal at least 2 to 3 hours before bed. So again, if your bedtime is around 10 o'clock, it could be a really difficult thing to, I don't know, come in from work, get the kids ready. You've got so much going on, and this idea of eating at least 3 hours before bed might sound ridiculous. But again, it's really about adapting to a new way of thinking, and your sleep is key to your well-being. So if you're not feeling good, nothing is going to be working. Nothing. So taking these steps, overhauling your routine is the best way forwards. And it's hard. It's going to be hard if you've got to make a lot of changes, but trying them is the only way you're going to know. Similarly, and again, another difficult one for some people is getting regular physical exercise. So really working hard in the day. If we're sitting at desks, it's really not the same as the physical exercise of, I don't know, somebody like a labourer or a builder, somebody who's doing a physical job. It's not the same. It's mental tiredness that you probably feel, a lot of fatigue. But being able to get some regular exercise, and that's not just walking to work or walking to the shops, it's actual exercise that you focus on yourself for the minimum of 20 minutes a day, really will have a great impact, a positive impact on your sleep. Try to avoid vigorous exercise close to bedtime though. You're better doing some nice gentle stretches before bedtime, some yoga, of course, because if you're going for a jog before bed, that can again have the opposite effect. You really need something that's going to relax you if you're exercising before bed. To manage your stress and anxiety, practicing relaxation techniques such as breathing, deep breathing, meditation, progressive muscle relaxation can really help reduce stress and make it easier to fall asleep. Journaling your thoughts before bed can also help to clear your mind. And by writing down your highs and lows of the day and preparing things for the next day, it does take a lot of worry and overthinking away before bed. Which, of course, the overthinking is the reason why we become stressed. If you prepare your lunch, your to-do lists for the next day, your clothes that you're going to be wearing for the next day, your bag that you're going to be using for the next day, you'll feel that everything is in place for a really positive start for your day. So preparing the night before for the day ahead is a really positive step to take. It is good to have a nap if you're tired in the day, but limiting those naps, to something like 20 minutes is really key. It's going to be beneficial because if you are sleeping in the day, that is definitely going to have a knock-on effect, a negative knock-on effect to your nighttime sleep. So if you really do need to nap, try to keep it to 20 to 30 minutes and avoid napping late in the day. There is a tendency, I suppose, to come in and hit the pillow for some, just rest and then get back up and begin your evening. But having that nap is definitely going to have a detrimental effect on your nighttime sleep. So avoiding that, and that again is something that might be difficult if you're used to doing that, but slowly bringing that down from 30 minutes, then to 20 minutes and to 10 minutes, and trying to keep that in the days is the key or the ideal situation to be in. Exposure to natural light during the day helps to regulate your sleep-wake cycle. So try to spend some time outside during daylight hours, especially in the mornings. So if you're somebody who works from home, that's key for you. If you are somebody who is bedridden, that might not be an easy task to get out, but if you can get to a window, I'm talking about even if this is in the winter. So if you're bedridden and it's winter, so it's cold, wrapping up or getting somebody to help you wrap up warm and having the window open and sitting at that window is tremendously helpful for your sleep wake cycle. And equally, if you're somebody who works from home, getting up, earlier to take a short walk around the block in the morning, whether it's cold, if it's raining, get outside in that fresh air. Wrap up, wear your mat, take an umbrella, whatever you need to do, getting daylight onto your face, your skin, and your body, breathing in the fresh air, all has a really positive impact on your life in general, but definitely for your sleep-wake cycle. Consider a sleep journal, because keeping a sleep journal can really help you to track your sleep patterns and identify factors that may be contributing to your sleep issues. So things like noting the time that you go to bed, times you wake up, any disruptions during the night, as well as your daily activities and how they might affect your sleep. I actually have the perfect sleep journal available right now from my website, and I'll include the link to the sleep journal in my show notes. It is a digital sleep journal, but you can of course print it out, because one of the key things of changing your sleep habits is not having your devices on before sleep, so that kind of defeats the object. But if you can leave that, say, an hour or two before bed, that's the ideal situation. Or, as I said, printing it out. So the sleep journal is full of sleep tips, places where you can document, your sleep wake times, what food you've eaten, what time you've eaten. And what you can then do is collect your sleep data, which helps you to track your sleep patterns over a month period or a 2-week period. And then you can become more aware of your habits. So you may not notice really until you actually look at them on paper, or you're looking at all the data together for a month. And once you can see your habits, you can take positive steps to change them for the better. So if you find yourself lying in bed, unable to sleep, here are some really good techniques that can help you fall asleep and stay asleep through the night. The first one we've actually touched on in previous episodes, because for the last 7 or 8 episodes, we've been practicing breathing exercises. But here's one that really helps with sleep, and it is specific for sleep. It's pranayama, breathing exercise that helps you to relax and fall asleep. So this pranayama exercise is the 4-7-8 breathing method. And you inhale through your nose to the count of 4. Hold your breath for a count of 7, and then exhale through your nose for a count of 8. And you can repeat this cycle a few times until you feel more relaxed or until you actually nod off to sleep. So this is a breathing exercise that is best done whilst in the bed, and also while you're practicing this breathing exercise, it is better to do that on your side, so on your left side or your right side, ideally the right, rather than lying on your back. So again, it's inhaling through your nose for the count of 4, holding your breath for a count of 7, and then exhaling through your nose for the count of 8. I would usually practice around 8 rounds of that, and that would get me to a nice relaxed state. And if I still don't feel that the sleep is coming, I'd go for another set. It will feel strange if you've never practiced a breathing exercise before. The holding of the breath for the count of 7, and actually even the stretching the breath for the count of 4 might feel a bit difficult at first, but obviously practicing is going to make it perfect. So prolonging your breath, the inhale for the count of 4, holding your breath for the count of 7, and then extending the exhale for the count of 8. You do that for the first time, you've never done that before, it might feel a bit difficult. But just remember, it is a practice, and the more you do it, the easier it becomes, and of course, the more relaxed you feel. The next technique is progressive muscle relaxation. So this technique involves tensing and then slowly relaxing each muscle group in your body to help you release physical tension wherever you might be holding it. So you could start, it's very similar to a meditation, a body scan meditation, but you would start with your toes. Now there's some parts of your body that if I say tense your toes, it's kind of like, what? I mean, how do you tense your toes? But if you focus and tense your toes, so you kind of scrunch them up to start with, but then it might feel as if you're tensing your whole foot. Now that's okay, because again, if you've never done something like this before, it's all going to feel a bit strange to start with, but you will notice the change. You will notice once you've gone through the whole body how relaxed you feel. Sometimes you don't realize that you've got tension until you focus on it and relax it. Then you know how tense you were. So starting with your toes and your feet, let's say tense your calves. That tension will feel as if it's throughout your leg. And to isolate the different parts of your body, again, might feel a bit difficult, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes. So you're tensing for a few seconds on each part of your body and then relaxing. And finally, or the third technique is visualization. And this can really help you to calm your mind and prepare you for sleep. So, and this is different for everybody. If I say, imagine a peaceful place or a relaxing scenario in your mind. For some, that might be relaxing on a beach somewhere tropical. For some, it might be walking through a forest barefoot. For some, that might be relaxing on your sofa, in your comfies. Whatever that peaceful, relaxing scenario is for you, that's where you should be for your visualization. Once you've thought of the place that feels most peaceful and relaxing to you, you need to start focusing on the details of your scene. And the more that you focus on the details, this distracts your mind from your worries and again helps you to relax and drift off to sleep. So I'm just going to use the beach because that sounds most pleasing for me at the moment. So imagining or visualizing the beach, nobody else is really around. The sand is white and soft and powdery. Imagine the feeling of the sand beneath your feet, on the soles of your feet, between your toes. Imagine it being warm but not too hot. And the relaxing feeling of feeling yourself sinking gently with each footstep. And the water is calm and crystal clear. And you're headed towards a nice sun lounger. The sun lounger's cushions are a nice vibrant orange colour. And there's a nice matching orange parasol, giving you enough shade. And next to the sun lounger is a little table with a cooling, refreshing, tropical drink. And then you take your seat on the sun lounger and lay back. And you can hear the birds singing in the background. And relaxing in that beautiful sun. And there's a beautiful calm breeze from the water, from the sea. And you're feeling totally relaxed. So your visualization obviously would be specific to you, but the more details that you can focus on and think about and really see that picture as if it's a video in your mind, the better. The more details, the more distraction, the more relaxed you are, and the more likely you are to drift off to sleep. Insomnia can be a particularly challenging sleep disorder, but there are strategies that can help. Cognitive behavioural therapy for insomnia, often called CBTI, and this is a highly effective treatment that helps you change thoughts and behaviours that interfere with sleep. It involves techniques like stimulus control and sleep restriction therapy. The stimulus control is a technique that involves associating your bed with sleep by only using it for sleeping and not activities like TV or working from your bed. And then the sleep restriction therapy, this involves limiting the time you spend in bed to the amount of time you actually sleep and gradually increasing it as your sleep improves. Improving your sleep can have such a profound impact on your overall health and quality of life. And by understanding the importance of sleep and recognizing common causes of sleep issues, implementing practical tips and techniques, you can take significant steps towards achieving better sleep, and you can start today. thank you so much for joining me again on another episode of Serenity Speaks, Conversations on Wellness. I really, truly hope you found this episode on better sleep helpful, and that you're now equipped with the new strategies to help you get the restful sleep you deserve. If you enjoyed this episode, please do share it with others who might benefit, and don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on future episodes. And as mentioned earlier, the link to the Sleep Well Sleep Journal will be in the show notes for you, so that you can take steps right now for a better night's sleep tonight. May you continue to embrace your wellness journey in finding serenity and peace in every moment. Namaste.